All right, and welcome to Old People This Week. My name is Jeff, and I won't bury the lead even before I introduce these two gentlemen. We got our 1,000 subscribers. Amazing. After
Yeah.
begging for them, after waiting for literally a year, we have 1,000 subscribers. I don't think Joe Rogan is worried about us yet, but what the hell. To celebrate, I bought Mike a pair of personalized adult diapers. It's got his name on the front.
Yep.
In the back, it says "Make My Day." And then for Paul, I got him a $500 gift certificate to the Costco food court.
Ah,
You can go and buy his ice cream, and you can
thank
buy
you.
his
Soft
hot
serve.
dogs.
I'll trade you, Paul.
Okay.
I'm dying to have that turkey sandwich.
And the other news, I have been in the hospital this week. I got basically an ankle-ectomy. I went in there with an ankle. They sawed that whole ankle off, threw it in whatever pile they put their old ankles, and gave me a new titanium one that's going to lay me up for a while, but it doesn't stop me from sitting right here every week.
And I'm just a rookie to all this as it's my first anniversary of my appendectomy. There you go.
First anniversary of what?
My appendectomy. My appendix.
Oh, you got your appendix taken out.
Yeah.
Did you have one of those deals you came, all of a sudden you fell over or something and it just burst uncontrollably?
No, my short story is that I took care of it all within 12 hours, and I felt not right, and I Googled, searched it at 3 o'clock in the morning. I looked at Louise and I said, I think we need to go to the hospital. But I first made a pit stop at the emergency care. I got myself scanned where I could take my own disc into the hospital downtown, and within 4 hours I had my appendix out and I was back home by 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it yourself, Paul. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't operate on yourself to save money.
I,
Yeah.
it
Where's
wasn't
my
just,
Where's my X-Acto knife?
All right, first of all, get into the discussion today because there's a lot to discuss about the fools that were born after us. First of all, you guys remember that show Lost in Space?
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, kind of a hit back in the 60s, and about this family that gets lost and out in space, and they have this giant robot, and it's just kind of a goofy series. But
Danger,
we
Will
had
Robinson, danger.
Will Robertson, danger. Well, we had sort of had our Lost in Space moment this past week when 6 celebrity women went up into space for a grand total of 11 minutes, then made it out like it was the greatest scientific achievement in the history of mankind.
Unbelievable.
So this, Jeff Bezos is, he owns Amazon. He
Right.
also owns a company that has rocket ships, and he sends people up on them.
Yeah.
And it's called Blue Origin.
Hmm.
And these flights last, like I said, 10 to 11 minutes from liftoff to landing, and they go 62 miles above Earth. So you shoot in the air, you go 62 miles, and then you come down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as a sort of I'm calling it a stunt. That's what it was.
It's a total stunt. Look at
Here's
the
the six.
people. Yeah.
Here's the 6 passengers: singer Katy Perry,
Uh-huh.
broadcast journalist Gayle King, who's better known for being Oprah's buddy,
Hmm.
philanthropist Lauren Sanchez, who, by the way, is no philanthropist.
No.
She is Jeff Bezos' fiance.
Hmm.
And once she became his fiance, all of a sudden she's a philanthropist. Also was former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe. Well, that's
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah.
Bioastronautics research scientist Amanda Nien. And then to top off this crew, film producer Carrie Ann Flynn,
Of course.
who no one's ever heard about, but she's
Yeah.
there. And you know what she brought to this event?
A designer handbag.
No, not a handbag, a designer watch. She wore the Lady Arpels Planetarium timepiece from Van Cleef and Arpels Poetic Complications collection that is worth, yes, ladies and gentlemen, $325,000. So,
Oh, good.
yeah, they pay her. They gave her this thing.
Yeah.
They said, you take it up on space, you can keep this.
Yeah, and be sure and mention it though while you're there, or show it.
Oh, yeah.
Prominently.
Oh, I got a picture. I'll show you. She's going like this. She's showing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So
this is the billionaire's amusement park. I mean, that's
yeah,
all I can say about it. It's
yeah.
just, I mean, I got to admit, the boarding process, the video of Gayle King boarding, it tells the human story in its entirety because I've never seen anyone literally looking like they're going to crap in their pants more than Gayle King right
Yeah.
at that moment.
Well,
I mean,
to their credit, if somebody said, "Hey, I'm going to blast you off in a rocket, send you 60 miles above the earth, and then drop you back into the desert with some parachutes, you want to go?" My answer would be no effing way. You guys have a great trip. There's no goddamn way I would do that for 150,000, for 500,000. I wouldn't do it.
I gotta say, my enjoyable joke line was from Stephen Colbert, who went like, "Gayle King," and he's like, "Do it for Oprah."
Well, what I read in the press release was one line in the press release said this: after the headline making all-female flight crew, they call them a flight crew, as in they had something to do when they were on there. They were a crew, and they were going to,
Yeah, fly it? Were you
they were gonna
flying it?
fly it. They got in there, got strapped down, probably drugged up, and then went up went up for 11 minutes and came down again.
Yeah, floated around airless for 2 minutes and then headed back. Yeah.
All right, and then. And what did they say? And the other part of the press release said, we're building a road to space for the benefit of Earth, was their mission statement on the company's website. And I'm saying they're building a road to space to make money. They won't even say how much the tickets were, how much they paid for these to go up there. But the deposit alone was $150,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
it was expensive and it was ridiculous and it did nothing for mankind, nothing for womankind, nothing for any kind other than just a waste of time.
Jeff Bezos kind.
Okay, as long as we're ripping on millennial boneheads of the year, there's a woman named Jalila Bumpus, and she's from L.A. She and her husband go to Hawaii. Not a big deal. When they land in Oahu, they go out to dinner at a restaurant in the Moana Surfrider Resort in Honolulu. As soon as they get there, they go to the restaurant, and the husband gets on one knee and proposes to her. The place goes crazy. Everyone is happy for them. But like I said, they're already married.
Right.
So why did they fake a proposal? To get free drinks and food.
Oh boy, class act. Flew all the way to Hawaii with their class act.
Yeah.
What a couple of morons.
They posted it, and they were seen by about 40 million people. And then at first it was ha-ha. And second it was wait a minute. And then the third, now there's a million comments that are basically ripping them for taking advantage of this situation.
Yeah, come on.
And then and the husband was getting really ripped because now it's become a racial thing because he's white. The Ms. Bumpus is black, and now it's become a real terrible, ugly thing. So I'm glad I hope it was worth it for him, for those free drinks.
This is something that starts in childhood when you lie about your birthday at an ice cream studio. You know what I mean? Like you're going to Farrell's or something, and it's like back in the day, and you say, "Oh yeah, it's my birthday," and it isn't really your birthday, and they're not going to do an ID check on you. So
That sounds suspiciously like you did that, Paul.
Yeah.
No, but I've always suspected that because there are certain places like Dunkin' Donuts and whatever that do offer things for free on your birthday. So
You do that at Costco food court.
It's my birthday. I get a free hot dog.
I want a hot dog.
I want a free pair, I want a set of tires.
All right, that was the bonehead move from a millennial. Here's the Gen Z bonehead of the year. So every week, we say that every generation after the boomers have become increasingly stupider, like they're inbred. And they always answer back, well, prove it. I go, okay, well, here's the proof. Look at this picture. Now, do you notice anything weird about it? This guy, who calls himself the Crooked Man, is an influencer. He has skyrocketed to viral status by showcasing his progress in becoming as asymmetrical as possible by training only one side of his body.
Genius at work.
His trapezoid's on one side of his body. That's all he does, is he works this trapezoid machine, and he does it every day, and he posts stuff every day, and it's just one side of his body. And you can see from these pictures, he's looking crazy.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre and deliberate attempt to rebel against the internet's obsession with beauty and perfection. That's what he says.
Good. and he's uglier than the stick to start with, so it's not like he had any worries.
All right. So the explanation for this thing is crazy. So there are groups of young men that self-describe themselves as incels, short for involuntarily celibate.
Yeah. We talked
Right.
about this some time ago, didn't we?
No, I don't think we've ever talked about this because this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. It refers to an online subculture of predominantly young heterosexual men who believe they are unable to establish relationships. These self-proclaimed incels tend to blame society and women in particular for their lack of sexual or romantic experience. As we have said repeatedly, is there's a reason for that. It's because you don't know how to meet anybody. You don't know how to get out and go to a bar
Yeah.
and talk to somebody.
Converse. Yeah.
All right. Well, out of that came this thing called looks maxing. And looks maxing is the act of obsessively optimizing one's physical appearance through a combination of gym routines, fashion makeovers, even cosmetic surgery to help these incels meet women, have relationships with women. Okay.
Jesus.
Now, the dude that I've been brought up here, this guy who calls himself the Crooked Man, he says, I have the opposite problem. I get so many DMs that I don't even have time to get through them all. So I needed the opposite solution. So he came up with, what was it called? He came up with looks minimizing. He explained on one of his now famous TikToks. What was the best way to looks minimize? Become more asymmetrical, work out one trap, it solved my problem, and man, it has worked like a charm.
Nobody pays any attention now.
No, they do, but they pay attention
the
to it
wrong
because he
kind of
looks like he looks like a nutcase.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So now he's got this weird ass body. I don't know what to say about it because just the stuff that we just went through in the last 3 minutes of incel and looks maximizing and all that is just so crazy that I can't get my arms around it or my head around it.
I think it's just more of an outreach or an extension of what we've already talked about over the past several weeks. Is these fools have no idea how to socialize.
No.
In whatever form, under whatever conditions, they have no idea how to look up, put the devices down, go out, look somebody in the eye, say hi. My name's Jeff. My name's Mike. My name's Bob. Whatever.
I should send him one of our Boomer's Guide to Life, the document that you and I, the three of us, have been working on for some time now, our pamphlet, free, by the way. All you have to do is reach out to us at oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com, and we'll send you a copy of it. I've written a new foreword, by the way, for it.
Oh, good.
Okay. Here's the new foreword. Boomers fight in real life, not on the internet. Boomers don't have safe spaces. When we grew up, there was corporal punishment. No boomer is allergic to anything. We mind our own business. We work from sun up to sundown, and we treat bullies like they're supposed to be treated. We beat them up.
Exactly.
That's
And we
sort of
all
working-
and we all
sort of
got to be
working on it.
boomers because our mothers never make us wear a helmet to ride our tricycle.
She should have made you wear a helmet when you were riding that bull, though, Mike.
No.
God knows what kind of damage happened. Oh, by the way, the best celebrity news there is on TMZ. I don't know if you guys watch TMZ. It's the craziest. TMZ is nuts. So I'm scrolling through looking at headlines, and this is the headline I ran across, and I kid you not. It starts out, it goes, Jelly Roll, I crapped my pants on stage.
TMI.
Did you say he's coming to Stagecoach this year?
He's the headliner. He's
the headliner, all right.
closing
Now,
the
there's
deal.
something to look forward to.
Hey, Jelly Roll, between Jelly Roll, Morgan Wallen, and the gal whose name I can't remember, she's so famous. They're the hottest three things in country music. So
Trisha Yearwood,
no, God, no, she's past news, ancient history.
Bonnie Raitt,
No, God,
Oh my God.
no,
Showing your age there.
no.
Dolly Parton.
Keep going. You're burying yourself every.
I don't know country western women singers, oh, for crying out loud. A caution to our boomer ladies, our great boomer ladies, who we love. We're always giving Bill Belichick crap. because he dates this vacuous 28-year-old named Jordan who posts things about their meet anniversary and makes him do gymnastic stuff on the beach. And he's 72, she's 28, and we keep saying that's too big of an age difference. Well, same thing goes, ladies, for younger men. Don't be dating some younger guy. If you're going to find a guy, make sure he's close to your age, because younger guys are insane, especially if they're from Texas.
Well, yeah.
Now here's the headline. 35-year-old Texas man arrested after allegedly causing his 65-year-old girlfriend's third-degree burns for talking too much.
That'll do it every time in Texas.
35-year-old Texas man was arrested after allegedly pouring scalding hot soup
Oh,
on his 65-year-old girlfriend, causing severe third-degree burns because she was talking too much, he claimed. So, just put these guys in prison and just lock them up and stay away. But ladies, that's what we're telling you. That's what Paul and I and Mike have, combined. But we have 150, no more than that, 300 years of life experience. Most of that's on Mike's end, by the way.
Still
of
looking
dealing
pretty
with
good, though,
people.
my folks.
Pretty good. I look good, and I just got out of the hospital hours ago.
No, you don't. You do not look good.
I know. Valerie goes to
No.
me. She goes, "You know what my dad would say you look like?" I said, "What?" She goes, "Death warmed over."
Yeah. Did they send you home with a body bag as part of your hospital to-go kit?
By the way, they just kick you out. They don't care about
Yeah,
anything.
you're gone. Wheelchair
No,
right
he's
to the
gone.
front door
Next.
and you're gone.
Who's next? The ankle's gone. Who's next? Oh, it's the guy with the hip. Okay, get him in here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hospital. I don't like staying overnight at hospitals either.
Well, no,
Because
because
I
that's
don't-
where sick and dead people go. Nobody
Well,
wants to hang out in
yeah.
a hospital.
So they
Not anymore.
they were bringing up like, oh, we might have you stay overnight. I said, no, don't get me home, please. They can do. When I had one of my knees done, I had to stay overnight at this hospital in LA.
Wow.
And in the middle of the night, these two nurses start going at it. Start yelling at each other.
Oh, wow.
They were having a work fight about something something the one was supposed to do and didn't do it. It was like 3 a.m. and they're screaming at each other, and it was incredible. And I just thought to myself, this is just, to me, it's an overnight. It's an incredibly weird, odd thing. To them, it's just another night in the hospital, and
Yeah.
they're pissed off, and oh my God, get me out of here. So this doctor let me go home and drugged up, and I got here, starting the healing process.
I can't imagine the crazy shit people in the hospitals see. That's got to be tantamount to what you see in airplanes, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, well, trust me, just like sitting in the hallway in the emergency room, like just waiting to be a number. Meanwhile, some people are just there for meals for the day off the street or something. They're like, okay.
Yeah. I won't even tell you half the terrible stories from that hospital. Okay, Mike.
Yeah.
You're always bragging about that Cornish hen. Is it Cornish hen, right?
No, quail.
Oh, quail.
Well,
What's the difference between a Cornish hen and a quail?
Cornish hen is a chicken. Quail
What's a
is
quail?
is a wild game bird.
All right. So you're always bragging about the quail that
Yeah.
you get in the mails, and then you cook for these big, for holidays. Is this the way you cook yours?
An influencer has gone viral for sharing her unusual way of marinating her Thanksgiving turkey.
Well,
Quail,
Mike, is that you? Is that how you do it? You
No,
just
no,
open up
no.
the toilet and throw the
No,
quail
you
in there?
flash fry them, get the skin crispy and brown, put them in the oven for 15 minutes, pull them out, a little sea salt. Oh my God, they're delicious.
Besides cooking her quail in the toilet, she also cooks her Easter eggs there.
Now there's a woman who needs intervention. I don't give a shit what you say. Any woman who cooks in the toilet
yeah.
is a serious problem.
I just hope she has more than one toilet in her house.
Doesn't matter, Paul.
It don't matter. They're all the same. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay. I had my wife make our deviled eggs in the kitchen, not in the toilet this
Yeah,
year.
Thank goodness.
All right. Now to some more somber news. More news about our dear friend, Boomer Gene Hackman, and his horrible passing. I was scrolling around. I saw a news story that there was more news, and there was like a dumping of hundreds of clips from body cams that were taken inside the house the day they found bodies of Jean and Betsy. The house looks like an interior of a house from Hoarders or something. It looks crazy bad.
yeah,
It
it
was just
does.
all messed up.
Horrible.
Not what
And
you would have imagined.
yeah, there's crap everywhere. There was medication all over the place. And when the cops first got there, there was a dog, a German Shepherd, watching over the partially mummified body of Betsy in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Is that what you heard,
Just
Mike?
more upsetting, for me at least, was the fact that it was clear evidence that no one had been coming to their house,
Yeah.
checking on them, having dinner with them, seeing how they were doing. Absolutely no one. Because had anyone in their life been in that house, there certainly would have been some sort of help or intervention or whatever. I mean, it's really sad.
I told you, I've said this before on the show. I'm not worried about Mike because if he doesn't show up at a certain bar every Friday at a certain time, the bartenders are going to send out people to look for him.
Yeah, the bartenders,
Basically,
local
their livelihood
bartenders,
depends on it.
Local Bartenders Union has a client well-being division. They're in constant patrol for miles.
With your name on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me switch to something. Mike, how far, if I challenged you right now and I said, how far could you run without stopping?
Let's see, it's about 2 miles to Roadrunner, our favorite bar. I could make it that far,
Yeah, you couldn't.
but I
run
would
2
need a
miles.
martini. I would need a martini after I got there. And your
bet
definition
you-
of running and mine would be completely different. I would be taking accelerated walking steps.
You couldn't get 200 yards to running. You would have to pass out. I'd have to carry you, get a wheelbarrow. and
Says a
carry
guy with one ankle.
but with my one ankle, I could outrun you. Paul,
No.
what about you? How far could you run realistically? If I said
Realistically, I could run like a quarter mile.
you could run a quarter mile?
Yeah.
All right. So you guys, I'm setting up this team for next year's what they call the Super Secret Speed Project race, and we're going to be a team.
No, we're not.
Team. What am I going to call it though? I had a name for my team here. Great Balls of Fire. So I started reading about this great crazy race. This dude from Germany comes over to live in America about 10 years ago. Doesn't speak English. Moves to L.A. Doesn't have any friends, so he just starts running. And he gets a couple of buddies, and he meets people that way, and he runs and runs and runs. And then one day he challenges his buddies. He says, let's run to Vegas. We're just going to start running from the Santa Monica Pier, and we'll stop at the Vegas sign, that sign outside Vegas that says, welcome to Vegas. And they did. Took him 40-odd hours to do it, and he made it. So then every year since then, he's put together this secret race that people run from the Santa Monica Pier to the Vegas sign. And it's not, there's nothing legal about it whatsoever. He doesn't, he's not on the internet. You don't pay an entry fee. You have to get invited to this thing. There's no rules. There's no track. There's no nothing. You just show up on a date when you get this information secretly sent to you somehow. And all these people the other day showed up in Santa Monica to a nondescript building. He lets them in. He says, "Oh, you guys are all the chosen ones that are going to run this race," and he gives them all a number, and then they take off, and that's it. There's no other rules or whatever. They just have to run as fast as they can, and the first ones to get to Vegas to that sign wins.
Okay,
I like it.
This guy I want to introduce to Asymmetrical Man. Maybe between them they can craft a life of some kind.
Nah, but I mean, I kind of like the weird nature secret part of it. But these teams get together to do it, meaning if we had a team, one person would run, then the other person would run. Mike would run his 15, 20 feet, pass out, and then Paul would take over for the quarter mile, and then I would take over and run the other 41 miles to Vegas.
41 miles.
Or no, it's not 41 miles, it's 41 hours. It's
I was going to say there.
250 miles.
You know what I like about it? I love it's a mad, 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 mad world. And if you sort of concoct that whole comedy together with like leaving the Santa Monica Pier and going to somewhere like Vegas and add into it a little bit of like The Hangover and some other things, I'm I'm all in. I think it's
That's why I think
hysterical.
that would make a great movie because they described that the New York Times did a whole article on this race this year,
Oh,
and these
really?
people and there's only one rule that you cannot run on the freeway. But
Okay.
these people get into places where dogs are chasing them all over the place, and they almost get run over because they're on these back roads and they just run across the desert, anything to get there first. And it's just nuts.
And they have no support team or
No,
anything like that. They
no,
just run.
no, just run. But they do that. Like I said, they do relay teams, meaning the three of us. Mike would run 20
Yeah.
feet or so, pass out, then Paul would run a quarter mile, then I would run the rest of it.
And remember when I was doing battle bots umpteen
Yeah.
years ago, there was no the government had there's a government agency called DARPA, and they had a contest where they would get kids and adults building robots, and they would have to go from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. The robots would, through the desert, and do that as a competition.
How you mean they'd have to build them so that they could walk across the desert?
Do the terrain and all the rest of it. Yeah,
Did they ever make it?
I believe so.
Okay, via con Dios. Do you have anybody that you're going to have that actually going to
That you're
Make
going to
me-
remember, that people
Yeah.
will remember. How about the Winker?
The Winker.
Wink Martindale
No.
passed away at the age of 91. Had lymphoma. Hosted,
Very nice gentleman.
Yeah, in the 70s and 80s, hosted shows called The Gambit and Tic Tac Doe. And then in the 90s, hosted a show called The Debt.
the debt?
Debt.
On Game Show Network. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Wink Martindale.
You
Goodbye.
remember?
Adios,
And,
amigo.
then, and now
Next.
this one, I don't want to be accused of rushing the net, but as you know, you and I got news that Gary Turner from the Golden Bachelor fame
Oh yes.
has been diagnosed with a terminal, slow-growing bone marrow cancer. And comes to find out, he was diagnosed 3 weeks before his split up with Teresa Nist.
What if
So
he
I
told her?
wonder- Yeah, I bet that had something to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And once he's been on Via con Dios, Mike, once you put him on that list, you've doomed the poor man.
Well, the clock's ticking. We'll keep checking in on the Gary Turner watch. But
Yeah, he wrote about this very nonchalantly on Instagram.
yeah,
Ah,
very candidly, I thought it was like, I've had a good life, and this is the hand I was dealt, so I'm going to go with it.
Well, we're going to be watching this because he made history by being the Golden Bachelor, and feel bad for him.
Yeah.
That show killed him. Those women killed him.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
It was
And
tough.
then finally, one more homage to the generation that turned over the world to us, John Patty Hemingway, 105 years old.
Wow.
And Patty Hemingway was the last surviving pilot from the Battle of Great Britain.
How do they know he's the last surviving?
They couldn't find any more. At 105 years old, you're a pretty good guess.
When you start checking off the list, it's pretty short.
The guy just died, by the way, who was this Japanese soldier who hid in a cave somewhere for 22 years
Yeah.
after World War II was over. So
Yeah, I
World War
remember
II
that.
ends in the spring of 1945. So in 1967, they pull this Japanese dude out of a cave. He thinks the war is still going on.
Yeah, he had no idea the war was over. Yeah.
And then they pull him out of there, and he's all pissed off that he thinks he's got to go, bonsai on somebody.
It's a movie to be made right there.
Yeah.
He just passed away too. So, all right. Any more Via con Dios?
No, that's it. I'm going to spare you one of those.
Thank you.
I'd set already that drives you crazy every year.
All right, Mike. Paul, give us a airline story that we can shake our head about.
Well, this one comes from an Air India passenger who urinates on a fellow passenger while in flight from Delhi to Bangkok. And it turns out it's not the only case that's happened. It actually happened on another flight 2 years ago from, I don't know where. But anyways, the Indian government's all about investigating into this. There's very little, but the one thing that's mentioned, and why is this always the way? It always happens in business class. These
I don't
things
know.
always happen in business class, these predicaments. It's like the craziest thing.
Well,
So
and
basically, the story is some dude who's on a flight from New Delhi to Bangkok
yeah.
gets up and starts peeing
There's,
over somebody else in the
there's
business class.
there's no real
no,
details from the crew or anything else except that it's being documented and being investigated and what the, you know.
but no backstory like this guy, pardon the pun,
No, there's nothing
pissed off
about
the
it.
other guy, or
No,
you know,
nothing like the Americans report on it. The Indians have been very to themselves.
yeah,
But I'm going to say one thing, though, and this is not really joking about with the airline incidents, but it's about all the fires recently on airplanes. And if you're a frequent flyer,
yeah,
to be observant in all seriousness, if you sit on an airplane somewhere in the middle and you are going to the over wing exit, look out the window before you go out because 9 out of 10 times it's the engine that's on fire. And you know what the engine's attached to? The wing.
wing.
So you're walking right into the fire, folks. Don't open the door. Don't evacuate that way. Go forward, go backwards, but don't go out that door. And I've seen all these pictures of smoking engines this week with people standing on the wings. And trust me,
Yeah.
it's going to be a significant fall because it's anywhere from like 20 to 6 feet in height when you slide off the back of a wing. Okay, and there is no slide.
Yeah. Well, and the other fact is the fuel tanks on an aircraft are in the wing.
Are in the wings. Yeah,
So
so
if that catches fire, you're toast.
yeah, there are very few times that you're going to save yourself getting out over the wing, except if you land on the Hudson. Then
Yeah.
you go for it.
Yeah, you got to have that guy flying there playing for you if you want to
Yeah.
stay on that. What's his name? Tom
Um,
Hanks. Too. Huh? Hey,
It was Sullenberger, Captain
Yeah.
Sullenberger.
Yeah.
Sullenberger. There's.
Sullenberger wouldn't let you go out on the wrong wing and fall down.
Well,
Sullenberger would take care
I
of you.
blame a lot of people for not instructing people on how the hell to get out of planes. 'Cause the other thing is I see all these videos of people taking their backpacks and bags with them. It's like
Yeah.
people.
Nah, not really.
No.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Run out of there and get out of there.
yeah.
All right. Some good advice, Paul. Thank you. Okay. On to our last story because it's that time. From Florida, of course.
Of course.
Of course. So this Florida man tried to evade deputies through unconventional means when they attempted to arrest him for aggravated battery in Polk County. They said deputies were looking for Johnny Yates, and they're serious. I mean, they're hunting all over for Johnny Yates. They look for him all over town. They're trying to run his plates and see where he might be, and they finally locate a house where he might be at. Well, they get to the front of the house, and there's a whiteboard out in front, and it says on the whiteboard, Johnny Yates does not live here. You see the
Okay.
picture of it right here. And so that's what he expected to trick these deputies with.
Brilliant.
Nice try, Johnny.
That's right, Johnny.
Yeah. Johnny's going to go up to space next in the rocket for 11 minutes.
Well, to go back to that is like Johnny Yates won't have the amount of money it would take to act that stupidly.
No.
You have to be a certain kind of rich and stupid to say, I'm going to pay, again, they don't even say how much the tickets are. Let's say they're $500,000 to go up on a cheese ball, like a carnival ride up the 62 miles and come back down.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing too, given the makeup of that group, that Bezos just picked up the tab for that flight because that's a
Oh, yeah. No.
that's a
No doubt.
massive
No.
media
Absolutely.
coverage before and after. Now, they're still talking about it on Gayle King's show.
Yeah.
You know,
She's trying to make it out like they did something great for mankind.
Yeah,
That's
please.
what bothers me about it. Just
Please.
say, hey, man, it was fun. I had the money.
Yeah.
Why not? It was cool. We went up
Yeah.
there. I was scared out of my mind.
Yeah, please.
But not,
Yeah.
She
whatever.
hates the fact that people are making fun of her. That's
I
what
know.
she
And
hates.
as it gets worse, she gets more defensive.
Defensive, yeah.
Yes.
And that's
Agreed.
what's made it really funny and stupid.
Agreed.
Yeah, because those two space scientists didn't have $500,000 apiece to
No.
fly up in that thing.
No, they were supposed to be on there to legitimize the rest of them.
Yeah, real crew members.
Yeah, real crew. Yeah, we got on board and we were piloting. Gayle, get over there. We need the yaw.
Yeah,
Just the yaw.
more rudder, Gail.
The rudder, more rudder. Lost in. What was that, Paul, that robot would
Space,
say?
lost in space.
Danger.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger, danger.
Oh my Lord. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. First of all, please subscribe. We're not done begging. We need more subscribers because we gotta.
On to our second 1,000.
Yeah,
Let's
we got
go.
2,000 now. Well, we're being greedy. And if you subscribe, like I said, maybe Mike will send you a picture of him in his new adult diapers that we got him as a gift.
So
That picture alone will be worth millions.
I love the turtleneck version.
Jeff, you can autograph your cast and send
Oh,
it
yeah,
to some
cast.
lucky
I got-
recipient when that's all done.
I got a boot the size of a.
Or a boot.
Oh my God. Please subscribe and then send us a email. We're getting plenty of email and comments. I didn't read any this week, but we got tons of them, including another one from Allison Moreland.
Way, Allison, I wore your shirt again.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. That's enough said.
Hey, that's just between me and Allison. So
Yeah, I bet it is.
yeah,
oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com. Send everything, and we'll put it on the air if you send us a video. We've been waiting for that first video from one of our fans to come. Maybe Allison will send us a video. See what she looks
there
like.
we go. Yeah.
And
Scott,
check out our,
Scott did send us a note from Albuquerque saying he loves Reese's comments at the
Oh,
end.
really?
Of the show. Yeah, he sent us a note saying keep it. Reese has many words of optimism.
many words of optimism. Yeah, Reese has many words of something. I can imagine what Reese's wife has to go through listening to that all the time.
Yeah, it's one
The
of those.
Dan-
Honey, you've said that before.
Yeah, she's heard all these a few
Oh, yeah,
times before.
Yeah, she's heard it.
Okay, and check out our Substack. As always, it's 52test.substack.com. Mike has
I'm working away on
brazenly
one.
said that he's going to send me one this week. We'll see. I sort of wrote about my operation in the Substack this past week, and I can always come up with another one if I have to, if Mike backs
You
away
might
from
have to
his
fill in the
responsibilities.
blanks. Yeah, I won't have it for this week, but I'll have it next week.
I got another one up our sleeves here.
Good.
We
Send it
can
to
all
me.
share this.
Yeah.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We are the
do.
hardest working men in show business, and we're going to be super famous when we get another 1,000 subscribers.
You bet.
Have a great week. Talk to you later.
You bet.
Adios.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right, let me see if I can show you a picture of this gigundous thing here.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the Old People This Week quote of the week. If you haven't got anything nice to say about anybody, come sit next to me. Teddy Roosevelt's daughter, Alice Roosevelt.